Hi, I'm Jen Gallacher and welcome to this Jillibean Soup tutorial. Today I'm using a Mix the Media USA wood plank, this patriotic wood phrase, and some felt flowers. We're going to create a patriotic decoration, so let's go ahead and get started. So while the wood veneer phrases are designed so that you can use them as is, you can also paint them. I'm using an acrylic paint today, and I've painted my phrase in red, white, and blue. Now I just cheat and I load the paintbrush from the lid. I don't want to load my brush too much. I just kind of want to do a heavy dry wash across the top of these letters. Now depending on how much paint you add will determine how much of the wood you'll see behind. On the of the phrase, I did a whitewash. And then for Brave and Home, I'm doing a slightly darker blue color and red color so that it covers more of that wood. So just go ahead and cover all of it up. If you find that the paint runs over the sides of the phrase that you are using, what you can do is just turn it over on its side and kind of dry brush and pull that paint right around that whole shape. It also helps to get rid of some excess paint, and looks like the paint is bleeding more into that wood. So this looks a lot more dynamic for the project we're creating. So let's go ahead and start gluing this to our USA plank. So I have already glued on the word Brave and of the. The nice thing about these planks is that there is a wood grain that you can follow to make sure that your letters are facing or rather running perpendicular to the project. Now because it's a plank, it actually has plank pieces cut into it and you can use those as well. So I just used some of the wood grain to place the Brave and the words of the. So we'll go ahead and add the word Home. I'm just using a glue gun. You can use wood glue or whatever else works for you. Whatever you prefer, and you want to move quickly as the glue does dry rather fast. Let's get that placement, and then I'll go back with my fingers or pin and I'll clean up those excess pieces of glue, and then I'll just adjust it until it sits. All right, let's go ahead and decorate this side of the project. To bring dimension into the project, we're going to create some rosettes. Now I'm using two different pattern papers from two different collections. This little gingham blue is from Too Cool for School, and this red polka dot is from Bohemian Brew. So I've already created two so you can see how they look. This is a great blue for the 4th of July we're using in the red, and I chose colors that were similar to the paint colors. For the blue gingham piece, you are going to need two strips that are 2 inches long. Now I have cut these with a manual die cut that actually has pleated pieces as well as this pinked edge. Now you could use a digital die cut to do this, or you could do this by hand by punching a border shape across the top and then using a scoring tool to score each piece. So for the red polka dot, how you assemble it is you add glue to one piece and then quickly add the next piece. The key here is to make sure the points meet. So even if your strips end up being a little bit shorter than each other, it's okay as long as those top parts of the poinsettia, or rather the rosette, meet. So we're going to add some glue to the second one, and we're going to join the two pieces together. And then being careful not to burn your fingers, just kind of mush them together. So what you get is a shape like this. And when placed down, it creates an accordion folded shape. Now these will not adhere to their shape without a little bit of help. So what I have is I have a 1 3/4 inch hole punch, and I've punched a black punch from it. This will create a foundation for our rosette, and we'll just add a ton of glue to that piece, just as much as you can get on there as quickly as you can before it dries. Some in the center, get some in the edges. What we're trying to do is capture all of those pinked edges, those lifted edges on our poinsettia, so you kind of want to gloop the glue on there a little bit. Then quickly form the rosette, trying to keep that center piece in the middle, and it does take some practice. Sometimes it comes together quickly and sometimes it doesn't. So then I'll use my fingers to kind of manipulate each of the folded pieces to make sure they're nice and even. And then I'll hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. And I'm pressing quite firmly down into that black punch circle. You can use any color you want, just make sure it has a lot of glue on it. And what I'm trying to do is make sure that each of these pointed edges are actually connecting to the glue. Then, to give it a little more time to kind of adhere and get that tackiness nice and dry, I'll actually just place that punch right on top. So let's go ahead and add these rosettes to our USA plank. So I have just simply placed the rosettes on top of the plank just to get a feel for placement. But I'm going to add in a little bit of texture with some leaves. So I will start just kind of placing them. I'm going to use some white die cut leaves as well as some green ones. And I just want to make sure that I get the placement how I want. Now what I'll do is I'll come back in, move those rosettes out of the way, and I'm just going to add glue to some of those pieces that are actually going to stick onto the board or be hidden by the rosettes. So we're going to layer 2 up at the top of the white die cut leaf, and we'll do 1 at the bottom, and they're going to point slightly different directions just to keep it interesting. So this creates a look of layering. Actually looks a little bit more like what you would see in nature. So again, let's do this one a little bit this way. Now I have a couple of different leaf sizes. So I'm going to add green leaves, and you'll notice that this particular leaf is actually a different shape and different size than the ones I have at the top. So that's another way to kind of mix up your dimension, is to use different shaped leaves. And I'm going to add 2 at the top. Now these leaves are designed so they curve in a certain direction. So kind of think ahead as to what direction you want the leaves to go. Now the nice thing about adding the rosettes is they do have this black circle on the back that we already added. This makes it super nice. Again, just add a bunch of glue on the back and then stick it down where you'd like. We want to make sure that we catch the stems of these leaves and the stems of these leaves. And then we're going to add our red polka dot rosette. And we're going to slightly overlap the blue one. So press down firmly. Make sure you can still read your words here over on the left. Now we're going to add some dimension with our felt flowers. So I'm going to use 2 different felt flowers. First I'm going to use this rolled up circle. These are also at Joann's, and then I'm going to use this kind of messy flower. And now they've been in packaging, so fluff and manipulate the flowers a little bit so it gives them a little bit more dimension. So here you have a USA craft that uses a USA plank, a wood veneer phrase, as well as some of our felt flowers. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see more tutorial videos like this one. For additional inspiration, visit our social media channels, including our blog, Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you for joining me today.